Hello, and welcome to our show. I'm your host, Brody Foxworth.
And I'm your co-host, Mandy Stevens.
So, Mandy, the question on everyone's mind these days, does using ChatGPT, or AI assistants in general, actually make us less sharp, less capable thinkers?
The classic "are AI tools making us dumb" debate. It's fascinating because, on one hand, these tools can be incredible time savers and creativity boosters. But on the other, there's this nagging worry about cognitive laziness, right? Like, if the AI does all the heavy lifting, what happens to our own brain power?
Right, absolutely. And that's exactly what this recent deep dive study from MIT and collaborators tried to unravel. They actually measured brain activity, and not just surface-level behavioral changes, while participants wrote essays with and without AI assistants like ChatGPT.
Yes, they split participants into three groups. One used ChatGPT exclusively, another used traditional search engines like Google, and the last group went solo, relying only on their own brains, no external help at all. They measured EEG signals during essay writing to see how the brain's connectivity and engagement patterns differed.
Yes, they split participants into three groups. One used ChatGPT exclusively, another used traditional search engines like Google, and the last group went solo, relying only on their own brains, no external help at all. They measured EEG signals during essay writing to see how the brain's connectivity and engagement patterns differed.
Exactly. They split participants into three groups. One used ChatGPT exclusively, another used traditional search engines like Google, and the last group went solo, relying only on their own brains, no external help at all. They measured EEG signals during essay writing to see how the brain's connectivity and engagement patterns differed.
And the results were pretty eye-opening. The brain-only group, those writing from scratch with no AI or search help, showed stronger and wider neural connectivity across multiple frequency bands. It suggests their brains had to work harder, were creating extensive networks for planning, memory recall, and creative ideation.
Exactly. The alpha waves, often tied to internal attention and semantic processes, were way more active in that group. It's like they were diving deep into their own mental resources, connecting ideas and structuring arguments entirely on their own. Contrast that with the ChatGPT group, where this connectivity was noticeably weaker. The AI offloaded some of the creative and planning burden, so their brains didn't need to synchronize as extensively.
But here's the kicker, Mandy. The ChatGPT group's essays were often well-structured and scored highly both by human teachers and an AI judge. Yet these participants struggled significantly when asked to quote or recall their own essays. In fact, 83% initially failed to quote anything from their writing. That's a pretty strong sign that the content wasn't deeply integrated into their memory.
Absolutely. And that's where we see a kind of cognitive offloading in action. You rely on the AI to generate or organize ideas, so your own brain doesn't engage as fully in encoding information or recall. It's like using GPS for navigation. Very efficient, but if you use it all the time, you might forget how to navigate on your own.
Right, absolutely. And that's where we see a kind of cognitive offloading in action. You rely on the AI to generate or organize ideas, so your own brain doesn't engage as fully in encoding information or recall. It's like using GPS for navigation, very efficient, but if you use it all the time, you might forget how to navigate on your own.
The GPS effect for the brain. That's a good analogy. And it goes beyond just memory. The study reports that this reduced engagement also correlates with lower essay ownership feelings. Many AI users expressed diminished psychological ownership over their work, partially crediting their essays to the tool or feeling conflicted about it.
Right, which highlights the metacognitive side of learning, being aware and reflective about your thought process and product. If you offload generation to AI, you might miss developing that self-efficacy or confidence in your ideas and expression. But it's not all doom and gloom. The search engine group showed intermediate results. They used external information actively, but still maintained stronger brain engagement than the ChatGPT group.
And that makes sense. Searching online requires more active evaluation, critical thinking, and integration. You're scanning a broader variety of sources, piecing information together yourself. The brain reflects this with stronger connectivity, especially in visual and attentional networks.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's like search engines encourage active exploration, while LLMs provide a streamlined, synthesized answer. The study even shows that the direction of brain information flow differs. LLM users' brains showed more top-down control integrating AI suggestions, whereas brain-only writers relied more on bottom-up flows, internally generating ideas.
So it's basically two modes of cognition, one active, exploratory, and memory-driven, the other more supervisory and evaluative, overseeing AI-generated content. But here's a question for our listeners. How do you think that balance should look in education? Should AI be integrated early or only after foundational skills are built?
That's the million-dollar question. The study suggests that heavy reliance on AI from the start might stunt the development of deep cognitive networks, but strategic use of AI as a tool supporting, not replacing thinking could boost efficiency while preserving learning. Perhaps initial practice without AI, followed by AI-assisted refinement, is a sweet spot.
Yeah, and the study's Session 4 data supports that. Participants who first wrote without AI and then used AI showed enhanced brain connectivity during AI-assisted rewriting, indicating re-engagement and learning integration. Conversely, those initially dependent on AI struggled more when writing without it later. This suggests a cognitive debt can accumulate.
That term, cognitive debt, really captures it. It's like borrowing mental effort now, but paying with reduced mental agility or depth later. We want to avoid a generation of learners who lose the ability to critically think and engage deeply. The challenge is designing educational approaches that balance AI's benefits without undermining core skill development.
Also important to mention, the study touches on ethical issues, including potential bias propagation in AI-generated content and concerns about echo chambers, where AI might reinforce existing viewpoints, limiting exposure to diverse perspectives. That could threaten the very critical thinking these tools aim to support.
Absolutely. And the human evaluators in the study noticed a lack of soul or personal nuance in AI-assisted essays, calling some of them soulless. While AI can produce structurally sound essays, creative and critical depth often comes from human experience and reflection.
So how do we navigate this double-edged sword? AI eases workload and democratizes access to advanced tools, but may dull our internal cognitive machinery if used unwisely.
I think it comes down to mindful use and education around AI. Teaching users to engage with AI outputs critically, to revise, reflect, and internalize, rather than blindly accept. AI as a co-pilot, not a crutch. It's about cultivating a growth mindset alongside tech literacy.
Right. And for our listeners out there, how do you personally use AI? Do you find it elevates your thinking or sometimes makes you rely on shortcuts? We'd love to hear your stories and thoughts.
Yeah, jump into the conversation. Remember, AI isn't inherently good or bad, it's how we wield it. So question, explore, and never stop thinking for yourself.
So, as we wrap things up, this study reminds us to be cautious but optimistic about AI. These tools are powerful, but require us to be intentional learners, balancing external support with internal effort.
And on that note, stay curious and keep those questions coming. Until next time, keep thinking.
Until next time, keep thinking.